to Let's Talk Stroke. I am your host and stroke survivor, Jerry Wald. And for those of you, well, it is the beginning of June, Aphasia Awareness Month. So um, we'll be talking about that. So for those of you that are new here, I started doing this um, a while ago to bring awareness to stroke, TBI, aphasia, brain injury, and also to provide a platform for all survivors to share their journeys from across the world and bringing on experts in brain health so they can share their knowledge with all of us. And like my guest this morning, Dr. Tom Broussard, and also known as the stroke educator. He's got a lot of titles, but we'll go from there. And so we'll be talking about stroke and aphasia. And so please ask questions, make comments, um, and please subscribe to two YouTube channels. One is mine, Let's Talk Stroke, and Dr. Broussard's. And well, I'll bring it up on screen, but it's ampersand, it's stroke educator, but there's an A, well, TBROUSSA, but I'll bring it on screen in just a little bit. So why don't we just get started? And again, please ask questions, make comments. Taking a chance. Okay, I heard some other things in the background, but anyway, thanks you guys for being here. I really appreciate it, and let's bring on the one and only Tom Broussard.
Hey, Jerry.
Hey, how are you? And hopefully you can see all the comments, and there you are, Serena.
Yes, I see a lot of folks.
Absolutely.
How you doing? Aloha.
Yes, you remember it. Salute, and then Catherine, nice to see you down here. So, wow.
Tom and Jerry, just like the old cartoon.
Tom and Jerry. Right. Here we go. I'm going to really try and put this up, and but maybe for those of you there who doesn't know Dr. Broussard here. So while I'm trying to bring this little thing up here, the document, maybe you say who is Tom Broussard?
Thanks, Jerry. Yes, maybe there's one person that'll be brand new, and we won't have met before.
All right, perfect.
Well, thanks a lot, Jerry. It's great to be the first day of Aphasia Month. It's always a big deal these days, and starting today, you might have heard over the last couple of months that we were doing a survey of hospitals around the country.
Yeah.
There's about 2,500 stroke-centered hospitals. And so far, we're up to 418 stroke-centered hospitals. And checking to see if they have any kind of information on their website, which is our first step, really, just to see what their website provides us with. Since you've got plenty of people with stroke, since it's stroke-centered hospitals, you would think that a lot of people would have stroke and aphasia, given that 30 to 40% of people with stroke also have aphasia. Well, so far, out of the 418, 92% of those hospitals do not provide any information about aphasia, or so little that it's not useful. So 92%, which is a huge number. And obviously we'll continue to work on this. It'll probably take me another year or two to get through all of them. But the bottom line is that when it comes to aphasia, which is a huge component of people that have stroke, also have lost their language in one way or another, not only the general public doesn't know much about it, the hospitals themselves do not know much about it. Although the staff do know what that is, but for some reason, literally over decades, really since World War II, aphasia and the information about aphasia has never made its way in to the hospital world. And that's a big problem. It happened with me. It probably happened with lots of you too. But at least in my case, when I was discharged, like many, many, many of my friends, I was discharged with no information about stroke either, but nothing about aphasia. And it took me a year to order for my medical records to get to my house. And then I got to see the assessment I had at the hospital that I had aphasia, although I was still too addled to understand what was happening. But that means a whole year of not understanding, other than my wife starting to look online and say, what is this thing called aphasia? Anyway, that's what we're working on. And we did an award for one hospital out of the 418 hospitals, and an award that they got it 2 weeks ago, but they got it today. And I think Jerry has a copy of the proclamation about what we just provided to that hospital in St. Louis. It's called Barnes Jewish Hospital in St. Louis.
It's absolutely amazing. I still having a little issue pulling that up there. I know that you have a copy there.
I sent you the
okay, you did.
I did, so that should get there soon enough. But this is what it looks like.
Oh, let's see. I'm going to pull you first. There it is.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
So that's what it looks like, and it's good that this particular hospital, they also have an aphasia clinic connected to them, as well as a University of Medicine, as well as a rehab institute in St. Louis. So they have these 4 entities working together, and a lot of information that you just basically won't get anywhere else.
Right.
We also discovered that out of the 418 hospitals, only 3 hospitals actually have a link to the National Aphasia Association. So,
which is hard to believe.
Given that out of the 418 have American Heart, American Stroke, plenty of other things. The National Aphasia Association, 3. And it takes you a long time to figure out those 3. I had to work hard to find documents that actually, you can't even find the document actually, and then see, oh, National Aphasia Association. That's how deep it is in terms of the unawareness about why aphasia is so important, yet nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. I know you looked up some hospitals where we live, and especially this one hospital, I don't know if it's Baptist or whoever it was, but their commercials are all talking about stroke. So I would think they have a stroke coordinator there. And I think you looked it up, and they don't.
They probably have a stroke coordinator, but they do not talk about aphasia.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the deal. That's the deal. A lot of the stroke coordinators, when I start contacting them, they basically say, well, we don't understand. You go, what? You don't understand? You're the stroke coordinator.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, exactly.
If you have 1,000 people discharged at your hospital, 300 to 400 of your patients are discharged with this communication disorder that you don't tell us about it, and we have no idea, and we can't talk anyway. So what is this all about? It's a terrible issue.
Yeah, and your caregiver has no clue, and they wonder why you talking like gibberish.
Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I still, after all you mentioned that you pulled up your records. How many years after?
I had to order it, and it took a year.
Yeah, I didn't even know that I should need to order my records. I did, probably 4 years after, and that's when I saw the word in there, aphasia, and I didn't know what that was, and so I had to, like you did, or your wife did, to kind of Google it maybe, or just find out what is that.
Right.
And because no one really, my doctors didn't even talk to, even my neurologist never ever said a word about that. It was in the notes, but there was no, what is it? Can someone tell me why I can't talk?
Yeah, I know. I know. I know. It's quite interesting. I mean, it's just very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And the hospital healthcare communities are highly siloed,
Right.
so you have people that are stroke centered, you have rehab people, they have completely different rules. If you go to a rehab facility, you have a different set of rules, and they actually will talk about aphasia, right? But they're highly siloed, so they won't really talk to each other at all. And same thing with brain injury world and the TBI world. The brain injury world has both traumatic and non-traumatic acquired brain injury, but they're still separate. They don't really talk to each other. So when I end up talking with the TBI people and others, they said they're glad to see me coming because they don't get to talk much about stroke and aphasia people. They hardly know about it. You know what I mean? Right. So it's sort of odd.
Yeah, it really is. Because it was really amazing that I did not, I went back to, I never really liked speech therapy. I just, because I felt like I was going back to like kindergarten or something. Mm-hmm. And then they never really told me I had aphasia. So I'm coming up on 13 years post. And a year and a half ago, I went back to speech therapy. And I wanted to see too, they recorded me. And that's when I found out, wow, I do have issues on that, but they didn't say, oh, you have aphasia. We just worked on speaking and speech therapy, but we never talked about aphasia. I actually brought it up because of this.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So I showed her, and I brought a book there and told her, told about you and everything, and the magnet.
Yeah.
So I brought one to my speech therapist. Well, it's magneted on her whatever her cabinet, and so I bring it up all the time. So I am going back to speech therapy just because I need it, I guess. And I just started going back. I thought it's amazing that I'm now accepting that I have an issue.
Well, it is interesting because the speech therapist people, there are many. When you go to the stroke pages on hospitals, and then you can finally get into rehab, and then you can see speech language, and then listing the things that they can do. Believe it or not, there are plenty of hospitals where they do all that, and they'll tell all kinds of things. They won't even show the word aphasia. Even their own page.
Right.
They might talk about communication disorders, but they won't use the word aphasia. Again, you can go, why? And they go, I don't know. I didn't put it there. Somebody did it 30 years ago. Well, can you update that?
Right. And I remember a while ago, you said, just if anybody watching, just look up the word aphasia at your local hospital where you had your stroke or where you did your rehab. How many is that? The 400 something?
418 so far.
Yeah, and you don't find aphasia anywhere.
Right. Yeah, you have to do a lot of work to find it or not find it. So, because I don't want to just do a glancing blow and say, oh, you didn't get any information. So I have to keep deeper to find that, yes, they do not. Sometimes they'll actually have, I found one hospital where they had a link, because they don't put many links, obviously, nothing about the National Aphasia Association. But I found a link, a whole bunch of neurologist people, and it had said aphasia, but I couldn't find the word. So I went through them, and they had links. I went through and found the resume of one of these doctors, and years ago, when he got his Ph.D. or something, he had the word aphasia, and that's how it showed up at that hospital. You had to go all the way up to the top. Wow. Nowhere else. I had to find it in the resume of one of those doctors had the word aphasia. So I credit them as having one mention, but that's one of the 92%. They're not helpful. I just found it that way. That's not helpful.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow. And people that don't know, because Rick, I don't know if you all know who, or I would like to know how many people don't know that you, Dr. Broussard, had 3 strokes. Yeah.
I had 3. To the real McCoy first with aphasia, and then I had 2 TIAs a couple of years later.
Right.
And I and I was at the hospital, and they obviously my neck arteries was the problem, so they did surgery on both of those. But I was in bed at the hospital, and the SLPs, because I was a volunteer at that same hospital, and I was there for 8 years. Everybody knew me, and the
Right.
SLPs came in my office to my room and said, "Oh my God, what are you doing here? You've already done all this." I said, "Yeah, well, I got some more." Um, but I was worried that I might have aphasia again and not be able to write. So I said, "Please give me something to write with." And I started writing. I could see that my grammar was still there, as opposed to the first time when it wouldn't work. But I wrote in my diary for 2 more weeks, and in the beginning it was, you know,
Yeah.
off the page and not on the lines, but at least I could see that it was me writing it properly. And it took about 2 weeks, and then I could write properly, fluently. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was worried about that for sure.
Yeah. I bet, because you showed um, the your drawings, your writing, how it was when in the beginning
Hmm.
and afterwards. What a
Right,
difference.
right.
That was
Yes. Yeah, that was helpful because, and I do encourage all therapists to urge their patients to start a diary, a journal from the beginning. And it just doesn't matter how bad it is. It's just a squiggly line with today's date and time and where you are, because then you get this, because it took me time to understand time. So a couple of
right.
weeks went by and I know if it was yesterday or I had no idea. But if you keep putting it down, however bad it is, it's the activity itself. So I was writing and doing lots of activities writing. Um, it took me obviously 11 months before I realized that what I was writing didn't make any sense, because to me it looked fine. So that too is very helpful, because it's, number one, is therapeutic. When you are writing, however badly, it doesn't matter. It is the way the brain works and the way plasticity occurs, that these activities are building the synapses, the dendrites and synapses, or finding others and co-opting them. But now as you're writing, you'll get better, even if you don't know that was bad and now getting better and there's a trajectory. It doesn't matter that you don't know. Just keep doing it repetitively every day. And sure enough, 11 months later, all of a sudden I now could see how bad my earlier writing had been, and now I could write it better, enough for me to understand. But
Right.
yes, it takes time, and that allows you to have the history of the recovery you have gone through, if you happen to record it in every way, like video or by phone. I mean, I, with my thing, recording myself, that
Right.
kind of thing.
Wow. You do
It's
that.
all stimulation. It's all stimulation.
Yeah. It's isolating. Aphasia can be really, well,
Oh
it
yeah,
is challenging and isolating too.
right.
Um, so when you were discharged from the hospital, but you left like probably like me, where um, you there was no paperwork. They just, here's your discharge papers, and see ya,
So yeah,
sayonara. I mean, that's
yep.
you know
I was lucky. I saved every scrap of paper that they gave me. Again, it took me a year or two to. I had them all in a box, but then I organized when I got better. I organized them so I could see even the little scraps of paper that the SLP had written. Not just the report. I had to order that, but her writing and my writing too. And I didn't know it looked bad. Um, but she didn't tell me, "Oh, Tom, it's terrible." That might have helped me if you told me, "Oh, it's Tom, it's terrible."
yeah,
But um, again, it is really quite amazing how the system works. And these are all good people. So it's not like
right,
these people are not, they're wonderful, wonderful people, wonderful people. It's
yes,
just a matter of us, meaning you, me, everybody you're looking at here. Um, all of us need to educate the therapists themselves about why this is such a difficult time for us. Um, and because they are so good, they will probably try to help, but we have to tell them that. Never
right,
mind the hospitals themselves and their staff.
yeah. A lot of folks in the hospital world don't
Yeah,
really. Well, they never told me about it. I'm sure the same, but it's challenging. I mean, I still have issues with that, and
Hmm.
nighttime's a little harder because I get when I'm tired. Um,
Hmm.
but it's difficult.
It is. Um, it is. I did, just to get back to how we all get better over
Right.
time. Um, uh, I've been reading some more stuff as you've been noticing. I've been sending these articles every 2 weeks or so about various scientists using the 1800s, 1900s, and you get to see how each one of them were trying to figure this out with people with stroke and aphasia and
Right.
other kinds of brain injury type uh, work. And uh, I've came across some really, really good quotes. You'll see, I think, yeah, you're going to see it on next Tuesday. You'll see it. Um, it looks like when we have a stroke and we lose a couple million
Yeah.
cells, right? Neurons, brain cells. And with those uh, millions of cells gone, then all the dendrites and synapses that were part of that go away. So if you have one cell, you could have thousands of hundreds of dendrites and thousands of synapses. Those are all the connections
Yeah, I was
between
gonna say,
one cell to
what
another.
does that really mean? I mean, there's like a tree with branches coming out, or
Yes. Metaphorically, well, I have lots of this stuff here somewhere. You have, oh, you know what I got? Oh, look at this.
no word. This is the.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Why don't I just pull them out like this? Okay. Never
Okay,
mind.
I'll put you full screen so we can.
There you go. Can you see that?
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe.
Wow.
So those
Yep.
those cells, that's one cell.
Wow.
The and the and I have other slides. Maybe we can do this next time, Jerry,
Oh, yeah.
because you get to see how many cells versus how many dendrites versus how many synapses,
Right.
and they're into the trillions when it comes to the synapses. But it's all the connectivity between one cell and another, and those I'm pointing, and those little things at the top, those are the synapses, and they connect to another cell.
Okay.
So when we lose our neurons, that thing there, we lose that and we lose everything that comes with them, the branches and leaves, which is a good metaphor.
Right.
Branches and leaves. So in order for us to get better, the remaining cells, the healthy cells, because there's no disease, right? It's a hit, as it were.
Yes.
The remaining cells have this capacity to grow new dendrites and synapses, more connections, because it's all about the connections. And as one of this scientists told me in the articles in the books he had written a long time ago, it's all about the C's. And he says it's all about the C's. It's the connections. And when from our stroke, we've lost, a lot of C's, the connections between one cell to another, and you have to rebuild them, which you can do with repetitive, persistent language activities and thought activities. So as a result of that, you rebuild all those C's,
Right.
all the connections. So in my case, because I happen to keep track in my diary, that particular day at 11 months while writing in my diary, I felt another click in my head. Literally, I felt it. And I looked at my first entries again. I said, oh my God, who wrote this?
Wow.
Because it was my handwriting, but that was the first time I could see that it looked bad, because up till then, it looked just fine. So as fast as I could, I wrote 15 pages in my diary. And I said, I'm telling the world as fast as I can. If I don't write this down, the world will never know that what I had seen was awareness coming in, unawareness leaving. And what now I tell you, what really happened is, see all those cells? Clearly, at that moment in time, enough of those C's, connections, finally came together. And now I could see what I couldn't see before. And I wrote that in the diary saying, my eyes are now at a new altitude and I can now see what I couldn't see before. that is what happens to all of us. It takes, quote, time. It's very slow. It takes years. But as you do it, you are building new branches and leaves into what is called the learning field. This is where it all happens. It's
Right.
at the very top of a beautiful forest, but they can't get to each other until they continue to grow.
Wow. That's interesting. Neuroplasticity.
That's it.
That's it.
It's all about neuroplasticity. It's everything about it is neuroplasticity. It is the stimulation. So it's everything on the outside, which are the stimulation, which are the activities themselves. It has to be something you like. If it's not something if you don't like it, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
So you have to find something you like and then do it. And then you don't do it because it's homework. No, you do it because you like it.
Right.
You have to like it. So everybody has been motivated before because you like things. Well, you have to find those things you like. And then, yes, then you start to build these C's.
Right. Absolutely. Wow.
I just have to tell you because this is going to come out on Tuesday, and you would think I'm so organized that sometimes I'm too organized for my own benefit.
Yeah.
And I want to, because it actually says, oh, come on, Tommy. Come on, Tommy. Where is it? It actually says it's all about the C's, and it's, just the letter C. All about the C's.
Wow. Yeah, because your shows, I put up your YouTube channel, the ampersand, and so if you guys see that, every Tuesday you do your on YouTube. You do a
it's almost every 2 weeks or so. Here you go. Intelligence. Here's this article. It's going to come out on Tuesday. It's a guy named Lashley, born in 1890, died in 1958. This is the guy. You get to see him.
Oh my gosh. How'd you find him?
And it ends with is all about the C's. Yep.
Wow.
It's how many C's that we all have, and you lose them or gain them based on plasticity.
Wow. Very interesting. So you're gonna have that article up on Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. Good. Good to see that. It's going to be interesting. Unbelievable. So do you ever get neuro fatigue?
I'm sorry?
Do you ever get neuro fatigue doing all that work you're doing?
I get fatigue.
Yeah.
Not neuro.
Yeah.
Not neuro fatigue, just fatigue.
Yeah, just fatigue. Yeah, exactly.
It's all about what you like. So I happen to like reading and writing.
Yeah. But you must have, because you got your Ph.D. before your stroke.
Correct.
Wow.
Right.
Thank God.
5 years before my stroke.
Yeah. And in the Naval Academy, you got a lot of titles out there.
Yeah, the normal,
Yeah,
I know. I know. And I was in submarines too. So
what's that?
I was in submarines.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So again, you have to like stuff. I like being in submarines.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. I can't wait to see what the article is. I've been watching all your other ones, and you're really going into in the 1800s.
Yeah, I think I'll tell you, and the folks won't know this either. I'm telling you for the first time. These articles I've been doing once or twice a month, and they are articles. I'm going to shift to more of a blog newsletter. It's going to come out every week. So the articles will go away about the first of the year, meaning first of 24.
Right.
And it will come out through a blog because I have to do a lot of work to send these things out. But if I do it as a blog with all the same information, but it'll come that way through something through a website that will be called Plasticity Inc.
That's the name of it. That's your new one?
That's the new one. It's going to come out next year. That's a new nonprofit, Plasticity Inc.
Wow.
I trademarked it many years ago in
Right.
various. You've seen it over the years. Plasticity Inc.
Wow. That's great. That's going to be really important.
Yeah, it's
To,
going to continue to go deeper into not just stroke and aphasia at that point, but how the brain works from any perspective. Whether you're healthy and you want to learn something, I'll be talking more about plasticity than I will be talking about stroke and aphasia, although both of those will be a part of that because that's how I got better, was through
right.
plasticity.
Yeah. So when you don't have a stroke or any kind of a brain injury, plasticity is still
Same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Same thing.
Same thing. Absolutely the same thing.
Wow.
Absolutely. And it's Plasticity Ink with a ink like a writing in ink.
Oh,
Yes. Plasticity Ink, and then comma Ink, INC, but before that is INK.
Oh, okay.
And it's plasticity. So plast, PLAS, plastic, itty.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, plastic.
You got that,
Anyhow,
Serena? Awesome.
you won't see it. You won't see it on the website yet, but the URL I have.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, clever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I see Serena here and Yvonne. Serena, she lives in Canada, in Nova Scotia, where all the fires are.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Have you seen all those fires?
I've heard about them.
Wow.
Where is Jan? Where in Nova Scotia does she live? I mean, she'll tell us if we ask her this.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Yeah. And I know that Yvonne's from Athens, Greece there. Serena, where is it? I know you've said it many times, like in the private chats, but Lynette Mayer, thank you. So great, Lynette. Where are you from, Lynette?
Yeah,
oh gosh, I hope I didn't. I could have. I don't know if you've been here before. Where are you from, Lynette? It's always good to know. I don't know if you ever know Dr. Digby.
Wow.
Away from the flash. Good.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is the one and only Tom Broussard here. If Lynette there, if you haven't seen it, but this is him. We have him here on the show, and that's amazing. Digby, Nova Scotia. Yeah. Oh, Tom, salute, you're still here. Oh boy. Yeah, so that's it's pretty interesting what you're doing. I'm really shocked about the hospitals. That's the part that gets me. All these hospitals, and I was always, my stroke coordinator, but she really is not a stroke coordinator. She just decided to use that title to coordinate support groups. That's what we did.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Oh.
There are lots of, they use the word stroke coordinator, but often it's, obviously it's not the same at one hospital versus another in terms of how they use them.
Yeah, but you have to be a stroke coordinator, accredited or something.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. Wow. Well, I'm real happy that you're doing all this work for us. My gosh.
I tell you.
Yeah, let's bring up your YouTube. That's probably the easiest way to get you right there. Or Stroke Quick.
YouTube? Yeah.
Or Stroke Educator.
My name typically on YouTube.
Yeah, and I do have this strokeeducator.com.
Yep.
And now to find you on aphasia, that's the website.
Right.
And then when you go to, and this is Aphasia Nation's another one.
Right. And that's good that Stephen says the hospital I was in was really good and quick to give my wife lots of information. Well, give us the name of that hospital and I'll go see if it's in my survey or not.
Good morning, Marina and Stephen. Wow, yeah. Let's you probably have it on your or Stephen.
I'll be able to go look and see if it's in the survey so far. Otherwise, I'll survey your hospital.
Well, that is pretty amazing. I got no information. Apparently, you got no information, and but Stephen, you got a lot of information. That is amazing. Wow.
Yeah, let us know the name of that hospital.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll get the award next year.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm always happy to see Tom because I know
All right.
I'll be learning something new. Yeah, me too. Kettering Medical Center, Kettering, Ohio. You got to look that up. Good stuff.
While we're talking, I'm going to check it now.
Yeah.
I'm doing a report in sorry, I'm just getting to the database.
No, let's.
And since it's all a database, I can get to it. Ohio.
Let's see here. Okay. Wow. I think.
Sorry.
I got yours. Let's see if this helps me.
Okay. So it's not in my database.
Oh, it's not. Wow.
Not in my database. Well, it's only 418 out of, and so far only 28 states. So 418 out of 28 states. So I have to get to 50 states, and I have to get to 2,500 hospitals, and they take about an hour per. So you can tell how long it takes me to do that.
Absolutely.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, gosh, look at this.
But Stephen, I will look at that when we're off the call today, and check it out.
Exactly. Okay, I'm just going to bring this up. Hopefully it doesn't mess anything up, but I think I found this right there.
Oh, there you go.
See it?
It worked.
It worked. Let's see if I can enlarge it here to okay. To the full screen. There it is. Wow. I'm too close.
Cool.
There it is. So this is it.
Goes out today.
This is it.
Hopefully it's going to come out of my computer throughout the next couple days, till it gets to everybody who's on my list. So, you've got it, Jerry, but others might not be unless I have your emails.
Right.
And you can always send me your emails while we're doing it. I'll add it to my list, and you'll get them, including this.
That's great.
Oh, there you go. Screenshot. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, if anybody, Stephen, or okay, so Dr. Cohn was the head of doctor on the unit. Dr. Holmberg. I did a screenshot of the. Okay, good. Salute, Lynette. Fairview. Okay, that's another hospital. Did you see that one?
Yeah, and where is that? University of
in Fairview. Yeah.
Yeah, tell us what town.
Yeah, let us know exactly. It would be great if everybody can send you their hospital.
Oh yeah, I'll add that easily, because if I just have one or two, it's okay. If I'm going to a state and like New York or New Jersey, and I've got several hundred I have to work on. There you go.
Okay, thank you.
Minnesota.
Thank you for saying that.
Minnesota. All right, let me look at Minnesota right now. I've done a lot of work with Minnesota. Let me just see.
So interesting.
Minnesota. Okay, so Minnesota. So far in Minnesota, I have 121 hospitals in Minnesota.
Is that right?
Not all have been surveyed. So I'm looking here to see what's one I've surveyed with you guys.
There's another one.
All right. Yes, it looks like.
Dr. Broussard, we'll look that up. I think you are now doing it.
Yes, I am. Fairview. Oh, there you go. All right, so you're what I call Minnesota number 9, M Health Fairview, University of Minnesota Medical Center. That's what you said. If that's it.
Is it on there?
Although it looks like there's several of them. There's M Health, Southdale Hospital. Number 8. Number 8 has one mention. Number 9 has no information.
About aphasia.
No information. That's what's here so far.
Wow.
About the word aphasia. And that's at Fairview MNHS.org. If that's the right hospital.
Right. And I see Marina has a couple here too. Wow.
Oh, look at this. Oh my God. Hang on. Let me write them all down. Yeah, I have a lot of them in Virginia too. Now I won't have time to get to all of them.
Right.
I'll write them down.
Virginia.
Hampton.
Yeah.
The Virginia and Riverside Hospital, Newport News. Okay, Virginia. The I will look at them. That's close by. The interesting thing is I have all of these stroke coordinators for hospitals in Virginia. So that's 100 and some. That's 100 and some hospitals, 100 and some stroke coordinators, because they all have this. They have to have at least one, and typically they have just one.
Wow.
Sometimes they're part-time, but depending on the size of the hospital. But I found out online that I found out not only the stroke coordinators, but their email, believe it or not.
Wow.
So I put all that into my list, and they all get the stuff. Well, the first time I sent it to them, yeah, it went to all of them, right? Well,
right.
the first time, the only response I get was, and it was somewhat blind, so I couldn't see where they're coming from, although I could, I guess. She said, so how is it that you found all of our names and emails? And you can see. And I sent them back with all the information. I said, oh, this is great for you to do this. I said, here's where it is. Here, I got to it through your state government website, to your health and human services, then to your stroke centers. And yes, here's this website. And I sent it all to them so they could actually see where I got it from. Well, they were somewhat pissed. I go, what do you think? This is what we need. This is why you make this stuff. Now, not many hospitals, not many states actually provide you with that kind of information. Most of the time I have to basically go one place at a time, one state, and then one town, finding them and finding all the information, and often not able to find stroke coordinator names. However, they were quite bothered. And every once in a while I get things saying, please unsubscribe me. And I take them off, but I'm telling them, before I do, I send them, well, here's who I am. This is why we're doing this. It would be nice if you guys would help us with this. So yes, but I still get people say, please unsubscribe me.
Wow.
And you go, well, that's why we have this issue, right? Let's see, scenario. Okay.
Well, you got a whole bunch. I mean, I can copy and send them to you, because this is wow.
Are you looking at mine now?
Oh no, I was just looking at all the ones that like Catherine St. Anthony North Hospital in Westminster, Colorado. Lynn, my eyesight, that's a good way. Gissinger,
all right.
Danville, PA, Primrose, St. Francis Hospital in Colorado Springs. Wow.
All right, the Sonara Hospital in Hampton. That's the one you asked about. So I'm going there.
Wow, there's a lot of them.
Now it's interesting. Many of the hospitals that are in systems, it's like Sonara, they're all have it's a system. So there are many hospitals in the same system. They get their same website. So far, all of these Sonaras all have a little information, which is, 0 is no information. The number 1 is one mention. Number 2 is a little information. So all of these hospitals in Sonara, I'm looking through them quickly, they all have the same information. So they all have little, which is good. You know, it's better than nothing, but it's still not where it needs to be.
Wow.
But at least all of these, I'm scrolling down, all of these, Virginia Beach, Independence, Williamsburg, Jefferson, Sharonona, Smith County, all of these. Okay, now it's stopped. Okay, so
Okay.
I scrolled through, so I assume that Hampton is there, but I'll check that later. But yes, at least that system,
Yeah.
you have the information. Unfortunately, sometimes you get bought by other systems.
Right. Right.
And then depending on what they're doing, I had several hospitals who actually had good information, but they got bought and they wiped out their website and put in their own. And they went from having some to having none because their system website is built somewhere far, far away. And they, you know, they didn't know nor care. And away went the couple of hospitals that had some information. This was in Florida, actually.
Right.
And off they went.
The Marina, we also should be including all the neurologists.
Yeah.
I agree. Good morning, Michelle. And Encompass Health Rehab Hospital in Colorado Springs. Wow, there's so many. And do these hospitals all say they're stroke hospitals?
Well, the Colorado Spells, I'm still writing this down. So if you are a rehab hospital, like Kathleen said Encompass Health Rehab Hospital.
Right.
If you are a rehab hospital, your accrediting body is typically not something called the Joint Commission. They are, although they might have some portions of it are Joint Commission accredited, the rehab people come through another set of rules called CARP. CARP. I could write it down for you, but it's too hard for me to say. But they're better. They have more rules. You must do various things. So typically, and I've written that down, I will look that up. But you can bet that they're doing better just because they have more strict rules about stroke and aphasia. Not
Absolutely.
really about aphasia, but yes, they have rules. The Joint Commission, it is all about stroke. It's the Pentagon of stroke accreditation. Nothing about aphasia, nothing at all. So that's why it starts with this accrediting body who basically will tell you, yeah, it's not up to us. Our job is to do this. And they do it very, very well. I have no complaints. But it's never going to get to what we need them to do. So you have to go individually. Okay.
Yeah, there's so many. Yeah.
North.
Marina, I do go to there's so many like I can go to, but all in our town. And I know that Tom looked up where I was taken my very first, my stroke, you know, and there's no talk about aphasia. It's just, yeah, it's hard.
I'm still writing.
I'll go on. I know there's a lot. Thank
St.
you guys.
Mary's.
There, Michelle, nice to see you. Cheryl.
Junction.
If I missed you, Lynn.
Colorado. CSC.
Look at this. Rehab. I think it's okay.
I got that one.
Unbelievable.
Oh, look at this one. I got this one. There's a new one, Penrose. Because this makes it easier if I just do these few. For me, it's few.
Yeah.
As opposed to hundreds. St. Francis Hospital.
Oh, see.
Colorado Springs.
Okay, yeah. And St. Mary's and Grand Junction. A lot of Colorado.
Yeah.
I guess all over there. You think they're part of the everybody writing their hospitals here are part of the 418?
I don't know. I'll have to go look.
Yeah, I just wonder too. St. Joseph's Hospital in Burbank, California. Yeah. Yeah, just hard to imagine.
So the uh, so you can see how, I don't say difficult. It's just the way it is. There are 2,500 hospitals in our country. There's a tremendous amount of churn, both by their ownership, if they're for profit or nonprofit, and the staff. Tremendous amount of churn in the staff. Tremendous, tremendous, tremendous.
Right.
And you could hear it on the news now all the time, just how hard it is to get and hold on to your staff at these various hospitals. So one of the first ones to go are the stroke coordinators, because they are typically senior nurses. Senior nurses. Many are retiring or about to retire, and they cannot find a new one to replace them. So, but they have to be, because they have their own rules with the Joint Commission.
Right.
Unfortunately, then they make them part-time, and they can be 5 hours a week. Why? Because you're just dealing with the numbers and what's happening, and they have these meetings quarterly.
Right.
That's where all the work happens. That's where we and SLPs need to be in those rooms, and it's incredibly difficult to get into that room.
Right. Right.
So, and because the stroke coordinator, typically the nurses, they are stretched. They have so much work to do.
Yes.
In our local hospital here, she was already saying, I am retiring. She's the part-time stroke coordinator. They couldn't find another one. They begged her, and she said yes, to stay for another year.
Wow.
Well, that year has already come and gone, and I haven't been able to find her. So I have no idea what's really happening.
You see what Steven's saying? Tammy Straight, nice to see you. That's a good idea. I don't know if you have to give them specifics.
Well, this I'm doing this report June 26th of all the hospitals here in Maine, because this is a small state.
Right.
Big state, but a small state in terms of hospitals. There are 39 hospitals and other health entities. Not all hospitals, but we count them as 39. There are only about 4 or 5 who are stroke centers, but I'm doing a survey of all of them. Well, so far, meaning I've done them all, but I still have to write it up in a way that'll make everybody sort of happy, or just not be too pissed off. Out of the 39, 2 are on the right side, meaning the good side of how much information they had about stroke. 2, one, our local hospital here that is stroke centered, and another one that it's a little hospital. It's not stroke centered, but they have a good amount of information about aphasia.
Wow.
God knows how or why, but that's 2 out of the 37. Now, again, some of them are psychiatric hospitals, so I put them as NA. They don't have to deal with it, as it were.
Right.
But the biggest hospital in our state has no information about aphasia, and they know who I am. I'm the regular pest. So,
there he is. There he is again.
So that's the deal.
Yeah.
I'm still writing all this down. I'm sure I missed.
There's so many. Laura,
I'm sure I missed them all.
Yeah.
However, can you send me this? Can you send me the chat?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I won't have to. I'll stop writing them down. Thanks for doing everything, everybody, sending that information.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And the next time,
Governor King listed as a acute stroke. Interesting. Yeah, you can go through all these too. I'll make sure that you have a copy of it. And yeah.
Amazing. So now I have lots of homework to work on.
Yeah,
as you guys all know.
More homework.
I'm happy to do it. And I will. But next time I come with Jerry, I'll have it all done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll wait to hear it back from you too, Jerry.
Yeah, this is great. I'm glad everybody put their hospitals and
sure.
Stephen, according to you saw that one, the governor.
No, what the governor? What?
The Ohio Governor Kittering Medical Center is listed as an acute stroke ready hospital.
Ah,
Interesting. I guess.
acute. Oh, astute. So an acute stroke ready hospital is the third level down. There's the first one is comprehensive. Then the second is now I'm forgetting. The first is,
Welcome to aphasia.
well, anyway, the acute, although it says acute stroke ready hospital, they're not the they're not the comprehensive and they're not the primary. The acute is the third level down.
Wow.
Yeah.
So does the governor really know? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Meaning they're meaning that they are ready, that
Yeah.
they're not comprehensive nor are they primary.
Wow.
But still useful, and they are still considered stroke centered, and they
Right.
should have something about aphasia.
You would think so.
You would think.
Right. It's funny. Absolutely. Unbelievable. Well, Tom, this was great. And I'm glad you got to share your everything. Marcy, nice to see you.
Hey, how you doing?
You could, yeah.
Stella, nice to see you. Tom and Jerry,
Yeah.
the mouse and the cat.
So,
I'm not sure which one is which, but
it's been a while since I've seen them. Is it April Sutter? Oh, you guys are the best. Thanks for all you. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate that. April Sutter is the company.
Thank you, Laura.
Ah,
Thanks, Jane.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well,
Yeah, it's been good.
yeah, it's been good and it's been real, but it hadn't been real good.
Yeah.
I know. That's what it comes to.
Yeah,
Broken
absolutely.
aphasia.
Yeah, Robert Golden. Yes.
Hi, Robert.
Hello, Robert. Good to see you out here in this world. Hey, tomorrow I'm going to get discharged from OT therapy. There you go.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, that is
Congratulations.
now, I'd love to know real quick. I know that's getting close to time, but Marcy, what would be great? What kind of paperwork are they going to give you when you are discharged? It'd be interesting. OT, did you go to speech? And did they talk about aphasia? I mean, that's what we're all kind of talking about it. But you can put it in the comments too when we're done, and we'll see it too. So, well, Tom, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Jerry.
Again,
nice to see Jerry and see everybody on the call. Nice to see everyone for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate the comments.
And most.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, thank you, and guys have a great rest of your day. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you once again.
Absolutely. Nice to see everyone.
Yes.
Take care.